Hello.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha. Hawaii.
Yes, sir.
Who are we?
Jose y
Z. And we are currently sheltered in place in Maui.
mm-hmm.
And today we are going to talk about the 7 questions you should ask yourself before starting a farm. 7. Great counting. So we are bored out of our minds because before all of this happened, we sold our properties
Mm-hmm.
and quit our jobs. And now we are staying in somebody else's house.
La casa de alguien.
And we have nothing to do.
No, nada.
No.
Nothing.
So we thought we would start a little series on... Oh, okay.
Estamos haciendo una cosa.
We're doing one thing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh, we're... Is that true? We're doing a lot of eating. So I'm not sure that's a good thing, but who doesn't love a little bit of food, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. But you know what would be nice is if we actually had the property we wanted to start now,
Mm-hmm.
we would be able to getting so much work done. But we don't have any property.
No.
No.
Es la parte mala.
See, it is the bad part. So we thought we would put together a series on starting your own farm.
Mm-hmm.
So today we're going to talk about the 7 questions you should ask yourself before you make a decision to start a farm. And then we're going to go into farm planning and actually do a series on the business plan for a farm.
Yes.
Because
Okay.
I've been doing the business plan for our farm. And we were supposed to be actually going to look at properties next week, but we won't be doing that. So I'm going to have a really complete business plan and no property because here in Hawaii, we cannot go look at property right now. All right, so let's get started. Jose, what is question number 1?
Pregunta número 1.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. ¿Quién eres?
Who are you?
Uh-huh.
That's a very important question
Okay.
because
Okay.
if you're going to start a farm, you should really have a good understanding of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
And because farming isn't easy, it can be very frustrating. You have to have a lot of patience. The first time I started a farm, I thought, oh, this is going to be easy. And our second year in, I planted all my early season cruciferous vegetables. And as soon as they got about 6 inches high, these little beetles came through, ate every single plant right to the ground. Mm-hmm. It was pretty much everything I'd planted. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you spend a lot of time planning and getting things ready and something destroys your entire season, I know in Colorado we had a big problem with hail.
Yeah. Hail
would come through and basically wipe out your entire garden. So gardening, you really need to understand who you are because you have to be ready for anything that comes your way. And you can't control nature sometimes.
No.
You can do things to help mitigate, but in some ways, there's nothing you can do. So really get to know who you are and know if farming is the right thing for you. What's question number 2, Jose?
¿Cuál es tu meta?
What? What is that? What are your goals?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you plan on doing with your farm? Is it going to be just for you and your family? Or you and your family and your friends? Or do you want to grow a specific product? I know Jose and I are really hoping that we can grow some vanilla here.
Wow.
I think that will be part of our farm. And that's a very specific crop. And then maybe you want to do more of a market style garden that includes a lot of different vegetables, some fruit trees, a mix of things. Maybe you're going to have some animals on your farm. So what are your goals? What is it you want to accomplish with your farm? Yeah, think about that. All right, what's question number 3, Jose?
¿Cuál es tu grado de conocimiento?
What is your knowledge level?
Mm-hmm.
So how much knowledge do you have about farming? Because there are a lot of different aspects to farming and a lot of things that you need to understand before you get started. So are you a good student? Are you willing to let yourself be educated? There are a lot of things you need to know. So let's just talk about a few of the things. Have you grown before? What is your knowledge of actually growing before?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I thought it would be easy in the beginning, thinking did a small urban half-acre farm, and then insects came in and wiped out my entire crop. That's very painful. If you have a farm, you not only need to know about growing crops, but you also have to have business skills.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you run a business? You have to have sales skills. Like, you're going to need to sell your products. So if you're trying to sell a CSA or going to farmers markets, you're going to need to understand how to do sales.
Mm-hmm.
So farming isn't just about knowledge about growing. You have to know about all these other aspects. And if you want to do animals, you have to learn about animals. What types of crops do you want to grow? What is your soil like?
Yeah.
Like you need to know a lot of stuff. So if you love education and you love to learn, farming may be right for you. All right, Jose, what is question number 4?
¿Cuánto tiempo tú tienes?
How much time do you have?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see where to start with this one. Really, when you're thinking about what kind of a farm you want to do and if you want to start a farm, you need to know how much time you have to spend on it.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to grow maybe a 1/4 acre, which in Colorado Springs I had a 1/2 acre, I grew it all by myself and did all the work by myself.
Mm-hmm.
It took a lot of time. I spent a lot of time out in the yard. So you just need to decide if you just want to grow a small little patch for your family or grow your front yard or any of that. How much time are you willing to commit? If you want to make a business out of it, you're going to even be committing more time. The other thing you need to think about is if you plant today, when will those crops be ready to pick? When will you need to be weeding them? When will you be harvesting? And one of the things we're experiencing now, especially here in Hawaii, is a lot of the farmers had planted out crops expecting that there would be tourists galore here right now. And there is literally nobody here. When we go for our walks in the morning, we see almost nobody. There's almost no cars on the road. There's nobody on the beach.
Es casi un pueblo fantasma.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's very dead here. There's nothing going on. All right. So you have to be thinking about those things.
Esta es una pregunta muy importante. ¿Cuánto dinero tienes?
How much money do you have?
Uh-huh.
We skipped number 5, didn't we?
Yeah, oh, sorry. ¿Qué quieres cultivar?
Where will you be growing?
Mm-hmm.
Where will your farm be? So are you going to be growing in your yard? Do you have an apartment and you just want to grow? Right now, my mom in her condo is growing a tomato plant. So do you have an entire acre that you want to grow on? Is it just your yard? Do you have a small farm? You have to think about where it is that you will be growing, how much space you have. The other things you need to consider is where in the world are you growing? What's the climate like? What's the soil like? In a lot of places here in Hawaii, we have a lot of volcanic soil, which is very rocky and not necessarily good for growing. So a lot of it has to, you're going to have to do a lot of compost and other things on the land to get enough soil for things to be growing. So it's really important to think about those things when you're thinking about a farm. Mm-hmm. Okay, now ask your really important question, which is number 6.
¿Cuánto dinero tienes?
How much
Muy
money
importante.
do you have?
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about the financial aspects of your farm, the first thing is to think about how much money do you have to get started. And really with farming, if you're just doing it in your yard, you may not have to spend hardly any money at all. Pick up some tools. When I had my garden in Colorado Springs, I did a lot of work by hand. Shovels, tilling gardens, and doing all that was a lot of work. I had big muscles. Bigger than yours.
Oh, no.
Yeah. It's true. So you really want to think about that. But there's the other side, the financial side, is if you're going to be running this as a business, how are you going to be bringing in money? And how much money will you be bringing in? And we'll be talking about more of that when we do the business plan video, because obviously the financial stuff is very important when you're setting up a business plan. So how much money you have to spend. Maybe you need to take out a loan. Again, that'll be something we'll talk about a lot more when we do the business plan, because if you're going to try to get a farm loan, you're going to need a business plan.
Es verdad.
All right, Jose, what is all-important question number 7?
¿Cuál es tu mercado? ¿O qué buscas? Ajá.
Yeah, who are you going to be selling to? It's very important to be thinking about that because, first of all, are you wanting to do CSAs? That is community supported agriculture, which is where people buy into your farm and then they get a portion of whatever you grow.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to be going to farmers markets? Are you going to be direct selling to restaurants or grocery stores? Those are all important things to be thinking about. Are you going to sell online? You're also going to need to, and this goes back to the knowledge base, what are the regulations?
Yeah.
Like, what does the government say about taxes and what products you can sell? I think in Colorado Springs we had a limit. I don't remember how much money it was, but we had a limit on if you sold less than that, you didn't have to go through any sort of government regulation. You could just sell that as a small farm. And I'm not sure what that looks like in Hawaii, so we're going to have to do some research on that. All right. I think we're good.
Yeah, it's
Anything
good. It's
else?
good. Muy buenas preguntas.
Yeah, okay, so let's go over the questions one more time, just to remind people. So question number 1, who are you?
Ajá.
So who you are as a person, whether or not you'd be a good farmer. What are your goals?
¿Cuál es tu meta?
What is your knowledge level? How much do you know about farming? How much time do you have to spend on farming? Where will you be growing? Very important. How much money do you have?
Sí. ¿Cuál es tu objetivo? ¿Cuál es tu target?
What is your target? Yeah. And then, so how much money do you have, and what is your market? Who will you be marketing to? Those are the 7 questions. How many was there? 7 questions you should be asking yourself before you start your small urban farm or your farm or your homestead. Any of those things that you should be very clear about what you're spending. Or be very clear about those 7 questions. Woo, I've lost my mind. Anyway, again, who are we?
José y
Z. And if you're interested in starting your own small farm, subscribe to our channel. If you're thinking of moving to Hawaii, subscribe to our channel. Woohoo, Hawaii! If you just think we're kind of goofy and want to hang out more, subscribe to our channel.
Yeah.
We're going to be doing several videos over the next, oh my god, we still have 20 more days of being sheltered here in place. I can't complain, we are in Hawaii, so it's a beautiful place to be sheltered in place, yet we're still sheltered in place. So anyway, but yeah, we'll be coming to you with a lot of videos on business planning and setting up what you need for your farm and all of those kind of things, because we don't have a farm yet.
No.
So we have nowhere to do all of our work.
Nosotros necesitamos un lugar donde trabajar.
We need a place to work. She needs a place to work. Okay. Anyway, thank you for watching. We'll talk to you later.
Y aloha.